This is my persuasive speech and three Motlow students. 1, 2, 3. We were assigned to do a persuasive speech over any topic of our choice. My choice was one that seems to be rather prevalent in today's society, and especially in the past couple of days, because yesterday morning in Antioch, Tennessee, there was a mass shooting. An armed man went into a Waffle House and shot and killed 4 people and injured 2 others. And I am pro-gun, I'm pro-Second Amendment, and my biggest thing here today with you is I'm going to try to persuade you to believe in the Second Amendment, not that every person in society should be walking around carrying a Colt 45 on their hip in places that is not really necessary, but I am pro-concealed carry. I do have a concealed carry permit, and I only carry in places where it is allowed, but I also think that there should be more places that I'm allowed to carry, such as on a college campus, for instance. As long as it's in my vehicle, I don't see a problem with that, but I do understand where people are coming from on gun control, and I do believe that there are modifications that can be made to today's system in relation to gun laws. First thing we're going to talk about is, should guns be more allowed in society? I would have to say yes. I do not believe that the age where you should be able to buy guns should be raised or lowered. I think 21 for pistols is a good number, and I believe 18 for rifles and shotgun is also a good number. And I do firmly believe in background checks. That is the next topic. And I have a friend who sells weapons at a Dick's Sporting Goods store, did sell weapons at a Dick's Sporting Goods store, and also did at Gander Mountain. And we talked about background checks because people are saying that there should be more strict background checks. And while, let me reassure you, I do believe in background checks, also believe that the background checks we have now, a federal background check, is adequate. One that I had to go through a couple of times to buy a firearm. The way it works is your name is put through a database. Anything pops up at all, you could be there, you could be waiting on your purchase of a gun for up to 30 days. It could be longer, or it could be a couple hours, 10 minutes. It depends on who you are as an individual, your crime, background history, those kind of things. Very, very controversial topic in today's society is, should faculty at elementary schools, high schools, and colleges be allowed to be armed? With today's school shootings, I would have to say yes. I believe in the Second Amendment to own a firearm, obviously, but also believe in protection. And the only way I can imagine it is, if, for instance, yesterday morning in Antioch, if there was one person sitting in that booth where Waffle House is it's a gun-free zone, if one person was in there, that person would have had the potential to stop those 4 people from being killed. That's why I believe in it. That's why I believe teachers, while it's not in their job description, if they are willing and they are able to and they're comfortable with it, they should be allowed to carry a firearm in the classroom. There could even be laws and guidelines to where they have to leave it in a certain location, like in a little safe with a handprint code or something like that. I believe that there's a reform that could be made there that could be beneficial in education administrations. And I do believe that if faculty were allowed to conceal carry, there would be less school shootings, because obviously the shooter would not be as comfortable going into a zone where firearms were allowed versus going into an area where firearms were not allowed. Another topic of conversation might be that, would a ban on all weapons solve mass shootings? I don't believe so, because criminals are going to get guns no matter what. There are people on lists when they are not permitted to buy firearms, who own one in any way, and they still get the firearms. If you stop production on all weapons, there are some people in the world smart enough they can make their own. Guns have been made out of plastic, they've been made out of metal, there's different materials you can use. So criminals do not have to have, they're already not permitted. So I don't believe that a ban on all weapons entirely would be beneficial in any way. And also, would a ban on weapons prevent accidental shootings? No, because if somebody wants to commit suicide, they're going to find a way to do it. If it's not with a gun, it could be with a knife, some kind of chemical, a drug, it can happen. Is a weapons ban unconstitutional? I would have to say yes. According to the Second Amendment, we have the right to bear arms, and people say that the founding fathers did not say that an AR-15 they declare an AR-15 would be unconstitutional. While I understand where they're coming from, I have to disagree because a firearm is a firearm. I don't see a reason why I would have to own a fully automatic 50 caliber machine gun, but I also don't see why I couldn't if I had the money to do so. And the last thing is, will weapons ever be banned entirely? I don't believe they will, because that would just weaken us as a nation. I don't see how that could ever happen. And there's also PowerPoint we're going to go over really quickly. Over gun violence and some statistics to back it up. What we have here is a map of all the 2018 gun injuries and deaths, which includes mass shootings, it includes suicides, it includes homicides, it includes all deaths related to a gun. There were 17,170 incidents so far in 2018. While that's a scary number, mass media loves to use guns to scare people away because not all of those red dots are a murder upon someone else. Quite a few are suicides, like I mentioned earlier, and just other accidental injuries. The reality is that there are other things that can kill you, you have more chance to die from, than a weapon. In the past 2 years, Americans have been informed about how bad guns are and how detrimental they are to society. Heart disease is the #1 killer in America right now. This hits home with me as I unexpectedly lost my grandmother on Easter this year to heart disease. She was perfectly fine. She was healthy as far as we knew. And then one night she passed away unexpectedly. And they had firearms in their home. She grew up with them. She grew up shooting guns. There was never an accidental injury to her from a weapon. But heart disease took her. And as I said earlier, while news media informs us about how tragic gun shootings are, while I do agree with them, these shootings should be prevented, but there are other things that take more lives from you than the scariest looking firearm you can find. So far in 2018, there have been approximately 20 school shootings. There's no excuse for this behavior among innocent children, but with the problem being so great, we need a greater solution. If lawmakers would allow faculty who are willing to conceal carry a firearm, you would most certainly see a decline in these tragic statistics. Another possible solution would be more security guards in school settings. And as I said earlier, when a teacher goes to school to get their education to become a teacher, they didn't sign up to become a security guard as well. But if they're willing, I do not see a problem with the teacher willingly carrying a firearm to defend these children. But I also don't see a problem with allowing more security guards to be at school locations, especially younger children. I'm not sure how many security guards Motlow has on campus, on the main campus, but I'm 100% positive that I've personally only ever seen one in my time at Motlow on the main campus. On the Smyrna campus, I've seen one man, but he's not armed. He's not armed with a weapon, that is. And I see that as an issue. That's also why I would love if someday public universities will allow students to conceal carry, at least in their vehicle, to where there's access to it. And once again, this is my audience.